Hi folks, it's your humble homesteader friend coming to you from my off-grid homestead in Canada in the forest. I'm looking out at the ridge, a beautiful view. The ridge is about 1,000 to 2,000 feet above where we are, and we're already at higher elevation. But one day I'll show you, maybe I'll show you after this video. It was not easy showing you it before when all the leaves were still on the trees, and now that they're gone you can see the ridge. It's about how far from us, I don't know. Driving, if you could drive straight up, it would be maybe a 5-minute drive, but to get to it, winding road and going up, could be a 10-minute drive or so. But it's beautiful because when the sun sets, that's west, it reflects on that ridge, and that ridge lights up like it's on fire. And yeah, quite. And then any trees that's on our property before there, in particular these either white birches or poplar aspens, because they're whiter, they have wider barks, and they also look like they're on fire because of the red of the sunset hitting them directly, as opposed to summertime. The angle of the sun is different. Oh, and I can see the moon there is getting big. So anyway, that's east. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that we all have to deal with at some point, and but do it differently depending on cultures, ethnicities, where you live, you know, the climate, your personal beliefs, religions, and that is burial. I remember thinking 40 years ago or so that when it was a new option, cremation. People were talking about it being a more greener, more friendly. You don't occupy space in the ground, and I thought, yeah, maybe that's a better way to not take up space after you're gone. But then, now that I think of it, with all the power resources that it takes to, because I saw a very short, like not even a documentary, it was this little segment in a part of a documentary, what it actually involves, you know, that the amount of natural gas, the flames, the power, and then you know, to incinerate. But unlike garbage, where we incinerate garbage as an option to landfill, garbage is something that, if you're literally running out of land to dump it at, you can incinerate it, and I suppose so what that the fumes go up. I mean, what's the alternative? Whereas our bodies can easily be decomposed in the ground. Problem is the caskets and the coffins. I think coffins are the ones that are like the old Western movies that taper down, narrow down, sort of wider for shoulders and then narrow down for feet. And the door is like a one-piece door, as opposed to, I think, caskets with two-piece doors, like the top part and the bottom part for viewing, whatever. And yeah, and then I also saw in this same documentary that where I thought that the bodies would be rolled in on these rollers that go into this chamber, and then the door shuts, and then the fire blazes, and then the process starts. in this particular documentary, I saw the whole casket got rolled into this chamber and then the door shut. So now I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, now you've used all these resources for these trees, and then some of these have, you know, like a piano finish, shellac or polyurethane, whatever, these thick finishes on the mirror, like, and so that's fumes that goes up, that's all toxic. And then the fittings, you know, like the handles and the hinges and brass or whatever, same thing, and whatever that's inside the coffin. And speaking of what's inside, when I learned about the preservatives, formaldehyde, all the embalming, those are pretty toxic too. If it's going to be set on fire, but then you're releasing all that into the air, and if it goes into the ground, just as bad, because nothing can break it down. It's a preservative. It's a toxic preservative. So, and then not to mention for caskets, either way, you can pay few $1,000s, maybe even $20,000, depending on the wood. And so some of these wood trees are endangered and maybe almost extinct, like teak, mahogany, and then to have inlays of ebony, whatever, I don't know. And that's for something that's only good for maybe 2 to 3 days before no one sees it again. Just because you have the money doesn't necessarily mean you can cut down these endangered species just to show of your wealth. I don't know. So we're destroying the environment while we're alive, and then we're destroying it after. So when I moved here now into my 11th year, and every year when I go out and I'm working in the forest and I see progression of growth of different things, I noticed something, a tree or a plant, somewhere between a tree and a plant, called alder. Alder, if you know rustic furniture, stick furniture, cane, like, you know, very whimsical. Sometimes they have hoops and that. Those are made out of alders for thicker parts, like the, you know, the posts, like the legs or the armrest, and also willows and dogwood for the colors yellow and red. More embellishment. But these are all species that grow really fast. I was saying alders, willows. Some of you know of as the different varieties, like weeping willows, this big gigantic tree that's got really hanging loose branches, and all of everything that I mentioned like and love water. So wet feet, high water tables, and they grow really fast. I think in the case of willows, not weeping willow or pussy willow. Pussy willow is the one that you probably remember in the spring at some farmers, at some markets, they have like a very velvety little buds. Well, maybe not little buds, maybe about this big. And regular willows, they grow, I heard, about an inch a day. That much a day. In right conditions. So here we have a high water table in New Brunswick, and so in addition they prefer and like ditches or wherever. So I thought, why not make, for those who want to be buried in a casket, why not make more renewable, cleaner caskets out of, I guess caskets out of either alder, rattan, cane, you know, like the shoots of depending on how thick diameter you want, willow, which they make baskets out of. And so for a basket, if you can picture it, they use two U shape, like a plus sign almost, for the main structure of it, and then they weave through it. Sometimes they use 3 canes so to go in between the 2 main U shape, and then they weave through it. So why not make caskets out of something like that? You don't have to use nails, you don't have to use glue. You can, if the person wants it, or the family want it, paint it, but you can still use natural dyes, and they're still light and very strong. I mean, they've been around, baskets have been around for a long time, and they last a long time. They're not like straw hats that are very light and thin and they break down. Baskets are, well, next time you go to maybe a garage sale or somewhere, antique shop, you'll see baskets from 100, 200 years ago. They're still around. And so it can be lightweight, they can be environmentally friendly, they can go in the ground for those who want a casket. Personally, me, I know that some of the options that are, I think in India, they put you on a raft and set you on a blaze and then push you into river Ganges, I think. And some Scandinavian countries used to, I'm talking about around the time of the Vikings, but on shore, not in the water, just stack some wood and put the body on that and light it. Maybe pagans did that too. And you know, different cultures. Muslims have this thing where you're put in a white, plain white muslin bag and buried within 24 hours, which I like that, which means no embalming. And so personally, I don't want anything in me. I've not been on drugs. I've never been on drugs or medications or anything like that. So I prefer it that way. You go right back into the soil and nature. I mean, when you think about over the 100 years, past 100 years, I would say that the embalming and formaldehyde came around, and people were for wakes and viewings and that. And so for the past at least 100 years, we've been, not everywhere, but just in the Western countries, people have been buried like that with all those toxins, in addition to whatever medications they were in, that they had in their bodies. So you think, how long will it take for that to decompose and go back to the earth? And so if you can think of a better way than my suggestion, I mean, I have so much of that, and the stuff grows so fast, and I thought something like that could be good for local economy. People don't have to drive to work, and you know, everyone's gonna want to use something like this. Not everyone, I wouldn't need it, but other people that like the idea of caskets and that kind of thing. But if you have an idea or a suggestion, we can brainstorm on what would be a better way, an alternative way to caskets as they are now, with all the finished, lacquered and whatever, and then I don't even want to say traditional, because that's not even traditional. That's only been around, burying like that, extravagance like that, been around only maybe even less than 100 years. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think, because it's been on my mind for so long. And I mean, I remember 11 years ago when I was walking, and every year after that, walking in the forest and seeing how fast these alders and willows and different kinds of dogwood grow, and these are ways that we could harvest these, and they'll grow again, because you're not uprooting them. You just harvest them just like anything else, like grass would, and they just grow so fast. Could be used that way. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.